here we go. Button. Hi, my name is Medina. I am an animator and artist based in Kazakhstan, and today I'm going to be reviewing this tablet. This pen display is called XPPen 15.6 Pro version 2. I had this tablet in the previous version, and today I'm going to be unpacking and then reviewing if this tablet is actually different from the previous version, if you should opt for the new or the old one. And we're going to discuss whether or not you should be updating your already existing tablet, or maybe if you haven't tried drawing on a pen display before, maybe this is the time to actually get a pen display. Spoiler, the answer is basically yes, but we're going to dive deeper into this later on. Okay. It also has these plastic things so that it doesn't get damaged. Let's unpack this. It's really heavy, oh my god. Here is the stand that they provide in the sets of this tablet. You can also buy the additional stands on their website. Here are all the plugs. It feels pretty sturdy, although it's plastic. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. It has some kind of leather-ish texture to it. This is the manual. I don't know if I really need this or no. User information, the glove, and a cloth for cleaning the surface of the tablet. Here's the USB-C to USB-A port. It feels pretty sturdy as well. And this is the USB-C to USB-C port. So that's the elongator of the USB port. I'm not really sure. Okay, so now I figured out. Actually, this tablet can be used with an Android phone through the USB-C to USB-C-A and the USB-C to USB-C port, which is actually crazy. It feels really good on my hand somehow. And actually, this is what you could use as a stand too, like this. This is the 3-in-1 cable. I don't have a USB port, so I think this is the best option. Also really good quality. It is all protected with rubber of some kind, I think. First, I deinstalled all of the existing drivers that I had and quickly loaded all of the drivers that I would meet on the website. I do have to mention that for me, only the third driver that is on the website seemed to work. So if something goes wrong with your drawing experience, then I think that it is safe to just try out other drivers. Here you see the demonstration of the driver settings. You can customize the pressure sensitivity, all of the shortcut buttons, and calibrate the surface of the tablet to make sure that the cursor is right under the tip of the pen. Okay, let's test the pressure sensitivity. Okay, I'm using a pretty big brush and I'm getting this much of thinness. Oh no, I can actually get pretty thin with my brush strokes, even though the size is pretty big. Okay, and I suppose this is my first drawing on this tablet. The thing about this tablet is that it is not 4K, but it is HD, which is why you might find yourself actually seeing some of the pixels, especially on the interface or really small things. Like, you can actually see the pixels if you look close enough. It looks normal like this, but if you would be really hunching down to look at everything, you could actually see the pixels. This is how the eraser works. It has a pressure sensitivity, so it's pretty cool that you can actually make really precise things. Like here you see me making really small marks here, or you can go really big. It behaves pretty good with brushes that require a lot of pressure sensitivity and tilt. So here's how it looks with a pen tilt. This is me making a 90-degree angled stroke. And this is how it looks when you hold it in a really steep angle. You can use this for 3D as well. You can make storyboards and animations. You can make animation of any kind. It works really good in XPPen actually. And so now I would like to just highlight the main product features. And I think that the main thing here is that it is a 15.6-inch FHD full laminated display. So basically here lamination means that there's not going to be any kind of parallax in your drawing process. Basically what parallax is the distance between your stylus and the screen. And if the screen is fully laminated, you're not going to have this feeling where you feel like you're not drawing on the screen, but you're drawing like on the surface, and you see what you're drawing like under that glass, if that makes sense. You know, if I would put it in the opposite way, it means that you're going to draw on the surface of the tablet directly and not feel like there's any, you know, distance or like if it's not keeping up with your movements. So yeah, that's a good thing to mention. Nextly, we have that this tablet is equipped with the X3 Pro Smart Stylus with 16K pressure levels. It basically means that it is going to have good pressure sensitivity, and basically if you're going to draw really lightly, it is going to catch that, and you will be able to have a lot of line control and, you know, line variety. And on the opposite side, of course, if you would be pressing really hard on it, it's going to catch that and give you really variable lines. So that's good. And also, you know, 16K is a lot these days. I mean, I think most of the tablets nowadays have only 8K. I'm not going to say that I feel much of a difference from my other tablets, you know, the previous version of this tablet, or Wacom, Parplo, other tablets that I have tried, but I think that it is important to mention because they probably have made some kind of innovations, maybe, I don't know, technical work to make this happen, so that's a pretty cool thing. It has a higher accuracy. It is like 0.4 millimeter from the center and 0.6 millimeter from the corner. What this means here is that the stylus is not going to have too much distance between the cursor on your screen. Why is there like 3 letters C in every word? I cannot do this. Okay, never mind. But yeah, that's a really good thing because I did notice that on the older version. It wasn't something that was really strongly bothering me or something, but it is true that on the corners when you're pressing on some kind of settings or, you know, closing the window, it is pretty noticeable that the cursor is kind of off from the tip of the pen. It also has some faster response. I'm not really sure if that says anything, but it is like 3 grams of the IAF 0.6 millimeter retraction distance. Basically, I think that this means that it is going to respond faster. You know, when you're putting down a stroke, it is going to be there immediately. Although I don't really think that it is something that is noticeable right away. It is more like of the overall feeling of the pen, and I do agree that this pen does feel better. It feels somehow, I wouldn't say that it is like super fast sonic or something like that. It feels pretty good, it has good quality, and it feels different. However, I wouldn't say that it is drastically different, like this is a whole another, I don't know, technology or pen or something like that. Not necessarily that's a bad thing, just to let you know that it is not so drastically different from the older version. Although I do have to mention that it has an eraser, which is for some people is actually a pretty big change and is an important thing. I think it is mainly for the artists that draw art that is looking more like traditional line art, or maybe for the animators and people like that who have to erase and redraw a lot of stuff. Although, yeah, you know, that's still not applicable for everyone, because I don't think that all the artists actually prefer to flip their stylus in their hand every time that they need to erase something. I personally did like this feature, but I'm not quite used to it for now. For now, I really think that it's the fastest to do and to just press C or E, you know, the shortcut button. But I don't think I see any cons at all. Maybe I would suggest that for the future models I would really like to have a third button, you know, the shortcut button on the pen, because I feel like it is really great for those that do 3D or need some more shortcut keys. You know, although there's actually 8 shortcut keys on the tablet itself, plus you have 2 on the pen and an eraser. I feel like for some of the professionals that use a lot of different programs or that use maybe Blender, stuff like that, it would be pretty cool to have a third button, although it is not quite necessary, just something to consider for future models. Although I do have to remark that I think they have the third shortcut button on all of the newer models, like on all of them. I think on the 19 and 24-inch displays they already have this, so you know, not really a con here. Okay, so should you actually get this tablet? First of all, if you have the older version, if you have the Artist 15.6 Pro, you know, the older version, personally, I don't think that it is worth updating to this one. I think that if you're really updating and getting a new tablet, it is a pretty big spend and you have to invest a lot of money into it, and it's a big change. And if you do want to upgrade your art tech, I feel like you have to really invest in something that is different, maybe for the newer models of XPPen. But that is what I would say if you have the exact older version of this tablet. However, if you have a regular tablet that doesn't have a display, if you don't have a tablet at all, if you have a maybe, you know, different model, different brand of display tablets, and you're not really satisfied with how it is, maybe you want to upgrade and get a bigger one, I think that this is really the perfect choice for those that are either, you know, beginner or intermediate, and maybe for professionals too, honestly, because, you know, it is not too big, it is not too small, it hits just the right sweet spot that doesn't make your workspace too clustered. You know, your table is not going to be fully dedicated only for your digital drawing. You might actually have some space left for doing something else, maybe for placing your other stuff, anything. Yeah, it doesn't take too much space, but it is still not small. You know, it is not the size of an iPad. It is like twice or maybe thrice bigger than the 11-inch version. So yeah, what I mean here is that if you're deciding on what display tablet you should get as your first one or as your upgrade from an older version or something like that, then this is definitely a pretty good choice. Like, it is really solid, it has good quality, and the pricing is also pretty democratic, I think. Yeah, because the previous version, you know, the first generation of this tablet was actually my first ever pen display. I didn't have an iPad back then, I didn't have any kind of pen display at that time, and you know, for the pricing that it offered at that time, it was really good, and I didn't get any issues. It didn't let me down in any way, so I think it's a pretty good choice. But in the end, the decision is definitely up to you. You're going to be the one who is going to buy the tablet, the one who's going to spend the money. So yeah, what I say is that I totally recommend this. This is a really good tablet, and it proves how reliable it is through the years that I have been working on the previous version of it. Now with the newer version, I feel like it is going to be just as or even more reliable for your art journey, for your work, for anything that you do on your tablet, honestly. You could even use this not for drawing, but maybe if you do, you know, video calls, if you do 3D, if you do, you know, a lot of different kind of stuff, like whether it be animation, 3D, video gaming, phone call, hosting, or anything. I think that this is a pretty solid choice. So basically, yeah, for the conclusion, I'm just going to say my thank you for XPPen for providing this tablet. It really is a huge honor for me to be working with XPPen directly and get to review this. Thank you so much for sending this to me. I have tried to make this review as honest as possible, and the experience with this tablet was just amazing, so I only have gratitude for XPPen now. And yeah, this is my first time reviewing a tablet that was actually sent to me. And on top of that, if you would like to see me review more art materials and art tech in my newer videos, then just let me know in the comments or email me if you have any kind of proposal or collaboration ideas. Check out my other socials like Instagram, TikTok, Patreon, LinkedIn. What other social do I have? Ko-fi if you want to donate me, or you can just send money on my PayPal. I actually have PayPal now. If you'd like to support me and make sure that I release videos on a regular basis, then you can donate me on Ko-fi or directly via PayPal. I have all the links in my bio. It's actually now not a card, but it is Notion. So yeah, on my Notion page you can see everything that you'd like, you know, all the links, all of the, you know, projects, email, everything is there, so just check it out. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you liked this video, and I'll see you later. Bye.